Hey, this is Petra with Boundaryless, helping you to unleash your potential and make a difference across the globe. And I'm very excited to have a very special guest with me here today. Zubin Rashid is a well-known motivational speaker, author of 4 books, and an international consultant. In the last decade, Zubin has coached and trained over 10,000 executives and professionals at every level in professional and business skills and practices. He is also one of India's foremost experts on public speaking and has been featured in various newspapers, magazines, and other media, including The Telegraph and The Statesman. As he likes to say, his mission in life is to spread the light of empowerment through his motivational approach. Hey! Come in. Zubin, I'm so excited to have you here today. So,
thank you.
You obviously got used to the way how we greet in here, but how that would be different from the way how you greet in India?
Okay, so in India it would be very, very different. I mean, this is not how you would greet. So there are 2 perspectives here. One is socially, how would you be greeting? So socially, generally how we greet would be namaste. That's the standard greeting really. But if you talk about offices and workplaces, it's not namaste. It's simply a shake of hands and you say hello.
I know you work internationally. You've been even living in England for several years. So what were some cultural misunderstandings you experienced?
Well, quite a few, but I can tell you one of the earliest misunderstandings that I had faced. So let me tell you a story, if you're fine with that, something that
Absolutely, yes, please.
So I was going to office and I was walking to office, and as I was walking, I saw from the other side, I could see that there was a lady walking her dog. And as we approached each other, we happened to make eye contact. And for me, it was a shock when she smiled at me. And I didn't know what to say. So I was just very shocked. I gave half a smile and I just carried on. But once we crossed and I was on my way, I was absolutely elated. Why? Because in India, what we say in Hindi is hasi to phasi. So hasi to phasi means that if a girl has smiled at me, it means, well, she likes me. Maybe she just loves me, yeah? So I was excited. I went to office and I could hardly work. The next day, I purposely left home at the same time. Yeah, I had that intention that I should meet her. So I was again walking, and luckily she was a disciplined lady and she was walking her dog again, and we again crossed each other. We made eye contact and she smiled again. And what did I do? I gave back the best smile I had. And that day I went to office and I just couldn't work. So my colleagues asked me, what's wrong? Why are you not working? Something must be wrong. And I said, well, and I just narrated the incident. I said, hasi to phasi. And then my colleagues started laughing. They were falling off their chairs. And I was worried what happened. And I asked, why are you laughing? And they said, in England, when you meet someone and make eye contact, even with an unknown person on the street, it's good etiquette to smile. And my heart broke completely.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah. So what I learned from, at that point in time, I was too grief-stricken to react, but later I realized that we really need to understand cultures as there could be miscommunications. But let me tell you the last part of that story. I learned really fast. So I learned the culture of UK, of England. And then after a year of work in UK, I went back to India. And one day I was walking down the street and there was a lady walking from the other side, and we made eye contact and I smiled. And she gave me the worst look I've ever got from a lady. In India, you don't do that. Yeah, so that's the other side of that. And I reminded myself, okay, I'm back to a different culture. I need to change.
A reverse culture shock.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Let's take it to the rooftop.
Okay, let's go.
Okay, so let's take it back to the Indian culture. So what might surprise a foreigner coming to work in India?
Okay, that's an interesting question. there could be a lot of surprises, but let me tell you about the most important aspect of Indian culture. So it might appear to be something very social or something very personal, but it applies to work as well. And that point is that in India, there's a Sanskrit phrase which is Atithi Devo Bhava. So Atithi Devo Bhava means guests are gods. Guests are like gods.
Okay.
Yeah. So what happens is, even if you work here, say in one of the countries in Europe, and you go to India, and you will find that people are treating you like God. Yeah, they're paying a lot of attention. And the surprising part for people from Europe would be, if you've never been to India, you'll find that that doesn't stop when the work day ends. It continues after that. So we as Indians, we really like to make people happy and treat them, take them to places. You know, you would find that the whole Atithi Devo Bhava continues after work. So they might even invite you to their homes, and if you say no, they would be disappointed. If you say yes, you would have a tough time. Why? Because then you'll have a lot of food cooked and everything will be served to you, and if the lady of the house is doing that, then, well, you would be told to eat and eat and eat. So if you eat a lot, no, I mean, it's not that bad, but what I mean is, if you have to understand Indian culture and respect the culture when you're going there, you have to, at times, you know, you have to accept those invitations, go there. I mean, eat as much as you can, but you have to accept that you are, and it's not that they are getting into a private life. For example, they would ask you, hey, how is your family? How are your children? A lot of questions from private life would be asked, but not because they have any negative intentions, but because that's how we are. We like to know about each other. We are warm, and we are quite friendly. So we are like that. You know, that's what Indian culture is about.
Yeah, it seems like you are a very relationship-oriented culture too.
Absolutely. I mean, that's what it is all about. I mean, people, neighbors help each other. We celebrate festivals together. I mean, it's once you go there, you feel the warmth of people, really. I mean, you will not find cold faces. You'll always find warm faces. You're walking down the street, you need help. There are times people will simply take you there instead of just showing you the direction.
Oh,
can you imagine that?
Yeah, no, not really.
So that can be a shock.
Happen in here.
Yeah, so that's what it is, really.
Oh, very nice. Okay, another question I have. You know, like, people tend to put other people into boxes. Literally, it's helping us, I guess, to manage our expectations a bit. So, is there one prejudice that you would like to break?
About India?
Yeah.
Yes. In fact, I can think of my days in England when I was staying there, because you know, I was staying in a common house with people from other countries staying in different rooms, and I understood that there was one prejudice that people had about India, and the prejudice was that India is a very dirty country, it's a very backward country, all the places are unhygienic. And where do you get these kind of prejudices? I mean, why would you put a culture into a box? And when I think about it, I feel that the media and the news plays a very important role in either creating positive impressions about a culture, a country, or negative impressions.
Absolutely.
And you will find that mostly the media would be showing the negative aspects. I'm not sure why. Maybe it helps the channels earn more money.
Oh, of course.
But the point is, let's come back to this whole prejudice about India being a very dirty or backward country. Let me tell you something interesting. I mean, if you look at India as a country, most of the country is rural India. Yeah, so that there are no cities. The cities constitute much lesser in terms of area of land, you know, area of India. if you go to the rural parts, yes, people may be poor, but people are not dirty. Yeah, we cannot say that they're dirty and they're unhygienic. They do not have all the facilities. Yeah, they're not rich. They're poor. They might you might see that they're wearing dirty clothes, but those are clothes that are washed, but they don't have more clothes to wear, which is why it may appear dirty.
Yeah.
But I think we need to break that prejudice and see India as a country filled with a lot of cultural heritage. It's a beautiful country, and this is one country where you go to different parts and you find different kinds of landscapes. Yeah, you go towards the north, you've got the mountains, and in the winter you can experience snow. On the other hand, you go to the south and you have temples, and you have, you know, the sea and the beach in the west. Goa is one of the most famous beaches in the world. In fact, the best beach perhaps in India.
Yeah.
There's so much to see. It's not really, I mean, that's the prejudice I really want to break.
That's great. How about we take it to Shimla now?
Oh, I'll be very excited to go there. Yeah, I've not been there
Okay,
yet.
great.
Yeah.
Just let's do it and then continue our conversation there.
All right, let's go.
Perfect.
Yeah.
As a woman, if you read the news and you might be interested into traveling to India, you might get a feeling that it's not the best idea. So how do you see it? Is India safe, especially for women travelers or maybe even expats?
Well, again, if I go back to the whole question of media portraying how India is, I can probably put it in a different way, really. I mean, there are a lot of safety concerns in each country, and India is a very, very big country. So when you read only the negative news or you watch on TV, you will mostly find those negative aspects. So I have the answer as both yes and no. Yes, because, well, India is relatively safe. I don't think there's too much of concern. The only point is, and why I am more towards, a little bit towards the no as well, is you need to know where you can go and you cannot go. So there are certain places which may be unsafe, and people generally know about it and they don't go there. So you have to understand where you can and where you cannot, which is why it's important to consult someone who understands India, who knows the different places, so that you get to know where you can and where you cannot go. So in general, India is safe, so with these conditions really.
So what one advice would you leave us with today, especially for people who are working with Indians on maybe even a daily basis?
Okay, so one very common complaint, if I can call it, I get from Indians when they're working with Europeans or Americans generally, is that they say that they do not get much of praise for their work. Now, what I understand, because I've worked with people from different nationalities, and if I look at, say, Germans working or Austrians working, I wouldn't really expect that they would be praising me for some work which I was anyway supposed to do and I completed it. On the other hand, if you look at the Indian culture and the Indian way of doing things, if you tell me to do something and I do it, you know, maybe I have not gone over your expectations but just met your expectations, I would expect that you would, you know, pat me on the back and say, you know, you've done a great job, or you would, you know, probably maybe just write an email, you know, just one line which says, job well done. So that's something that Indians do expect. So if you are not from India and in your culture, this is not what it is. I think when you're working with Indians, if you can do this, that would really, really help. You would build great relationships with Indians.
And it's wonderful. So this is how you win an Indian over.
Absolutely.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure to have you.
Yep.
And now we would like to hear from you. So what is the one thing that you learned outside of this video? Just let us know in the comment section below. Like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to my channel for new videos every week. Thank you so much for watching, and I catch you next time on Boundaryless. Hi!